Hey there guys, Matthew here, joined by Liv for another review of Doctor Who Series 12, and today we are here to review episode number 6. Over halfway through the series already, only 4 episodes left, I can't believe it, but we are reviewing episode 6, written by Pete McGee and Chris Chibnall. It is of course Praxeus, which is basically about this disease, this infection that has been used. Well, they've used the oceans and the bioplastics and whatever other sciencey stuff to basically try and infiltrate Earth with this disease, because some other world was fiddled with it, and to try and find a cure they basically brought it to Earth, and it was in danger of basically infecting everybody on the planet. Ironic considering the whole coronavirus thing. But anyway, what do we think of Praxeus? Because I think we are in exactly the same position as to what we were after Spyfall Part 2 with Orphan 55. Coming off an episode that was so unbelievably awesome, with so many big things happening, and then you've got to sort of come back down, alter your expectations, and in a sense, the episodes were very, very similar. Was Praxeus the same as Orphan 55, or was it a bit better?
Definitely done better than, because in Orphan 55, because that message about global warming was pretty much just forced into your face entirety through the episode. This one, on the other hand, was kind of just how do I put this? Like, teaching you about plastics. But what gets me is, why have 2 episodes that are from a similar sort of message, and even teaching you about something in one series? What I felt that it reminded me of a bit of a Series 11 vibe. So was not having a definite sort of villain again.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I mean, it was definitely done better than Orphan 55 was. I mean, that couldn't have been more in your face and on your nose if it tried. And the whole Doctor Who PC argument, which, you know, it's always been PC, it's just sort of been magnified a bit more with Chibnall's Who, you know, and we're going to get the people who are going to be jumping on and saying that it's PC and they're using episodes of Who just to send messages and political messages, which is true to an extent. But I thought it was done well this week. I don't mind the whole Doctor Who's PC thing as long as it's done in the right way, and I feel like this was done in a good way. I completely think that the whole plastics in the ocean thing is something that people have to definitely take note of, because our oceans are riddled with it, and it's damaging, you know, animals and stuff like that. It's damaging the world. Like global warming, you know, it is something you've got to take note of. But I feel like it was done better this week. I would have preferred they'd have gone down a different path with the episode, because halfway through I was so invested in it.
Yeah, I was.
And I was really...
It started off so well.
It did.
It started off so well.
Halfway through the episode I was loving it, and I was thinking this is you know, on par for being, you know, up there with, again, another unbelievable episode, because there were so many questions. How is it all connected? And I'm not saying I didn't like it, but when it all come down to an infection because of plastics in the ocean, I sort of went, right. I didn't think it was bad. I wasn't disappointed. I was just a bit like, I wish it had gone in another direction.
Like in Orphan 55, the message was global warming. So even though it's a serious message, we as human beings, we have to take note of the message. What gets me, they are very similar messages, like I said, but in my head, so when that come out about plastics, straight away I was like, well, basically, so it's a copy of Orphan 55. Yeah, it would have done a lot better, but then I was thinking, why have 2 episodes like that, so in the same series?
Yeah, It's a difficult one because I know you really hated Orphan 55 because of the whole forced message. So I think, in your opinion, they have to be very careful about how they did this. And I'm not a fan of them using stories to do this sort of thing either. But I think they did it in a more creative way. They sort of weaved the plot in quite nicely to it. It didn't end with the Doctor preaching again, which was good.
Thank God.
The only thing is I wish they'd have gone down a different direction, because with the whole mysterious deaths, the whole infection thing's absolutely fine. I thought that was really, really good. The infection, how people were being covered up, and how the effects of how these people were dying.
That was really
with
creepy.
The birds as well. I mean, it was brilliant. And the whole infection thing's fine. I kind of like the whole infection thing. I think it's the thing with an infection is it's sort of something you can't see. It's something that's harder to stop. So I think it's always awesome when Doctor does that. It's just the whole plastic thing that it come down to. Because I thought, like I said, halfway through, with the mystery of it being 3 different parts of the planet, all these different characters being caught up within it, how it was all piecing together halfway through, I thought, this is great stuff. And I just would have preferred them to have maybe the creatures on that ship were solid villains.
Yeah.
Who were just trying to inject this horrible, horrible thing, across the planet, and the Doctor had to try and stop them. Because, this episode, a bit like Series 11, slipped back into the whole...
old habits.
There wasn't a definitive villain. Which,
The old habits.
Yeah.
So I'm referring to, like, at the beginning, I was gripped, thinking, oh my god, what's happening? And do you know what I absolutely loved at the beginning? All the companions were split up.
Yes, I thought that was fantastic.
I loved that.
Yeah, I agree.
loved the direction of that. I also liked how, how halfway through again, so Yaz wanted to go explore something else. I thought that was really good. But, them sort of guys with the masks on that were sort of villains looked really creepy at the beginning.
Yes.
Incredibly creepy, but yet again, they slip back into old habit, not being an actual villain.
Yeah, it just adds that extra sort of layer to the episode when, there's an evil villain that the Doctor's got to try and stop, and the evil villain was sort of the human race by dumping plastic into the ocean, and it's like Orphan 55 with, the villain is humans, global warming.
Yeah.
It's, I can see this episode, and I know the whole other side of the fandom who just hate on everything they're gonna be rubbing their hands together thinking this is an opportunity for us to hate on Doctor Who. Brilliant. So it's an awkward one, but I thought this episode had many other features which was so much stronger than Orphan 55. It had some really creepy deaths, which I wish they'd have sort of mourned a bit. I wish they'd have spent a bit more time, when the lad, I can't remember his name, when he was outside keeping an eye on the birds, when he died, it was sort of, he's dead, boom, gone. I wish they could have mourned his death a bit, because I thought he was okay for the part he played. They mourned the girl at the start a little bit, but I thought they could have maybe explored these deaths a bit more. But what this had over Orphan 55 was a very good side cast, again.
Yeah.
They were all very good characters. They all had depth to them. There was no one screaming Benny every 2 minutes, which is always a positive. So this had a lot of pluses over Orphan 55, enough to keep me gripped throughout, I think it's safe to say. So, continuing on from your previous point about the companions, I agree, another plus compared to Orphan 55. And it feels like we can only compare it to Orphan 55 because all the other episodes have just been, Nicola's Night of Terror was sort of similar in the way that it wasn't a big, massive, sort of crazy episode, but we can only really compare this to Orphan 55.
Yeah.
But I thought the companions had a much better part to play this week. Graham did in bits. Again, he is just there for comic relief at times, but Ryan was a bit better, which I'm sort of happy with because, I've started to sort of think he's slipping behind Yaz at this point. And Yaz, I agree, some people said it was out of character. I was just happy to see it. Her wanting to go off.
Yeah, I was.
On her own, and the doctor was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
what you doing?" sort of thing. You know, like I said, they need to be doing these things. Need to be stepping out their comfort zone. The doctor was like, "Where you going? What you doing?" I thought that was really, really good that Yaz wanted to go off and investigate and be independent and do her own thing. And I thought that was really awesome. Did you think the companions were better? Do you think what about all three of them and them each individually?
They were better, and it's like in the beginning, so was them getting split up. But it's just Graham. I just can't help but love him.
I love him as well.
I just love his funny lines, but there's sometimes I'm like that. I also wish that he had more to do than always just the funny lines all the time.
Yeah, he had some nice character moments though with was his name Lee? I can't remember the name of the guy. No, Lee was last week. The police officer. He had some nice moments with him where he was talking about his marriage and everything, and I think Graham had a sort of look in his eye that he missed Grace.
Yeah.
Which I wish they'd have mentioned really, but you know, I think that was sort of, you could sort of tell that was where they were going with that scene. So Graham had some nice sort of emotional moments, a bit like he did in Series 11. Ryan was a bit better. I think Yaz was the big plus for me in this episode.
Ryan started off good, but then all of a sudden towards the end dipped down again. I'm just starting to get a bit bored of Ryan this series. Yeah,
I'm as well. I think Yaz has surpassed him.
Yeah,
a little bit. I think Graham's going to always have that unbelievable likability about him.
Yeah,
that he could just stand around doing nothing and just talk, and we'd love it.
So funny.
Ryan's sort of slipping by the wayside a bit. Yaz, I think, is starting to come into her own.
The problem is, I compared to them to like previous companions, the three of them just don't stand out as like so up there as top companions, because all they seem to do is follow the Doctor around, kind of thing.
Yeah, they've not had their defining moment.
No,
really.
There's like so every other companion from like the other eras, so I've had something like more. Do you get what I mean? Like we like
Donna had Turn Left.
Yeah, Donna had.
Martha had the Series 3 finale. Rose was just a very well fleshed out character. Amy and Rory as well were developed really nicely. Let's not talk about Clara.
No.
Clara was too much.
But with these, so all I seem to do was follow her around.
Yeah.
All the time. Like,
very generic companions.
It's like what is happening is like each episode they're like, oh, so exploring something new kind of thing.
Yeah. And this is no disrespect to the classic companions, because there were some absolutely icons of the classic series, like the Brigadier, Joe Grant, Jamie, Zoe. You know, there was so many, Ian, Barbara, Sarah Jane, Ace, but you know, there were some classic companions who, you know, and this is just the way the writing was back then compared to what it is now, the standard and everything, how it's changed. Just sort of running around screaming, asking questions and just being there. These three are seeming a bit like that. And just the level of companions we've had in the modern series has been pretty high. These three are sort of becoming very mediocre. And they need just to come into their own at some point and just shine and just do something. Yeah, that's why I think there needs to be a Doctor-like episode where it's just them three.
I think what it is, so in other series, so there's always been that like one or a couple of episodes that explores them more. So like with Rose, we had like the first one that was about her.
It was Father's Day.
That was brilliant.
Rose had a lot of the parallel two-parter was focused heavily around her. The finale, of course, of that series. Yeah.
But with Series 11 and then Series 12, there hasn't been that yet.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, because other viewers should watch the series through their eyes. Yeah. Kind of thing, but there's just something missing with the three of them.
I'm still holding out hope that especially in the finale when things start to get serious, that they might come into their own and something might happen. But, you know, there were positives with them this week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still just wanting that bit more from them. Like I said, the side cast were fantastic. All
They were
of them.
very good.
I really liked the... I think she was Portuguese or Brazilian. The vlogger, she was really nice.
Yeah,
I have a feeling we'll see her again.
I do.
Don't know why.
There's been a lot of mention of it on Twitter as well.
I have a feeling we might see her again.
Seen this morning as well.
The policeman and the astronaut, their relationship was touched upon quite nicely. I liked them.
Yeah, I like them. They were funny.
They were cool. What about the closest we had to a villain? I mean, we had the sort of creatures in the masks,
Like
which at first I thought
guys,
were really good.
So I preferred better than the human again.
The Susie.
Because so Susie reminded me of that guy villain in Kablam.
Yes, written by the same writer as who written Kablam.
Really?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, there was a lot in Series 11. There was a lot of. I mean, she wasn't human, so we can't really say that. But a lot of villains very similar to her. You know, she wasn't the full villain. She was just sort of there, in the way kind of thing. That happened quite a lot in Series 11. She was all right. I mean, the twist when we found out that she wasn't actually on the side and that she'd been there taking in information and tricked the Doctor was quite good. But it just wasn't enough.
See all of that reminded me of Kablam again. Was that guy being there, taking in the information, and then all of a sudden
Infiltrating.
he's the villain.
Yeah, it was very similar. That's true. I mean, she was the closest we got to a villain, which was okay. Her motives were all right, but again, it sort of happened so quickly. We never really had a chance to properly be like, you know, explore. I mean, she didn't come across as menacing. She didn't come across very dislikable. She, you know, and then she was quickly gone before we knew it.
Just kind of there, really.
Yeah.
But like it's the episode just had Series 11 vibes again. Was like villains that are not doing anything or hardly there.
Yeah, I agree. It was a little bit similar. I mean, the guys in the masks at first I thought could be.
Thought they were very good.
They looked very good, especially in the masks. I mean, you think back to the Empty Child and stuff. I mean, you can really make that sort of thing scary.
At the beginning.
And when I found out that they were just human soldiers or crew, I was again a bit like, damn it, there was potential there for them to be really good villains.
Because at the beginning, so was the music and everything. So I was creeped out loads by it.
The first 20 minutes were gripping. They really were.
Was like really creeped out by it. But then in the middle again, so it's like completely zoned off to something else.
It did. It just took that different direction, which is a shame, really. Talking of the Doctor this week, then. Very good, again, I'd say. I think she had a strong performance. She seemed the centre of the episode. She drove the episode. And I don't think it was more her fault, more the scripts, but there was a little bit of exposition. A little bit too much when they were trying to sort of... And again, this is a problem with... I think the episode's pacing was a little bit too frenetic and too quick. I think they got to a point in the episode, I think when they got back to Madagascar with the astronaut and they were trying to like fix him with an antidote and trying to explain who the birds were and the pollution and where it all come from and, you know, the plastics in the ocean, bioplastics, and it's in the birds and they want to feed off the humans. And there was just a lot of information like trying to be thrown at. It's like, right, we need to explain this now. Throw loads of exposition at the viewer, try and explain it really, really quickly. And obviously the Doctor was the one who had to do that. So there was a point in the episode where she was sort of explaining a lot. And instead of a lot of information being gradually added and you know, given to the viewer to sort of take in throughout the episode, it felt like there was a lot of information thrown at us very quickly.
Again.
And you sort of had to go, well, hang on, step back. Let me just actually think what's... I mean, it's when you get that feeling that I need to pause the episode just to take all this in.
Yeah.
So there was that. Little bit of exposition from the Doctor in the middle, just to sort of put everything in place. But other than that, I mean, that's not her fault. That's just the script and the pacing episode. I thought Jodie was pretty strong again this week. What did you think?
Yeah, she was, to be honest. The sonic screwdriver is absolutely driving me nuts. I
think when you've got it in your head that you don't like it, I think every time it appears, you're always going to be like, oh. It was all right. I can sort of look past it a little bit.
So I just feel like she grips to the Sonic so much for absolutely everything. But apart from that, she was good. So apart from the rambling on scenes that drive me mad, but she is starting to get a little bit better for me.
Yeah, I thought.
So apart from in some other episodes.
Yeah.
So she is starting to get better, but again, so I blame the script for it, not her fault.
Yeah, this time I do. I think it's just the pacing of the episode. Like I say, just trying to just wrap everything up really, really quickly. And that's another point, is the pacing of the episode. I mean, like I said, the first 20 minutes building nicely.
We're really good.
Went into a strange direction, and then it was trying to just get everything together for the end. Talking of the end, obviously we've mentioned how the whole plastic thing wasn't exactly the best way to sort of go about it. But I thought, that bringing, the fact that the antidote worked on the astronaut was quite good. I mean, at first I thought he was dying. I thought that was it.
Yeah.
So it was quite nice to see that it actually worked on him and the risk paid off for them. However, the ending was a bit predictable.
Everybody lives again.
With the police officer, and part of me was like, oh, why has he done that? Part of me was a bit sad for the astronaut and for everyone that he chose to sacrifice himself. But at the same time, I was like, well, why has he done that? Why? You've just, your husband's just come back to life. I know he said something to you about, stop dodging life and everything, but I thought it was a little bit out of place for him to suddenly think, right, I'm going to sacrifice myself.
Yeah.
I know the whole autopilot thing failed, but for him to then do that and then be saved at the end, predictable.
Very predictable, I think. Like series 11 again, everybody lives kind of thing.
A little bit. Yeah, maybe. I think it would have been, more dramatic and climactic if he had perished at the end.
Yeah.
And that's because I liked his character.
I
think
as well.
Seeing that happen, it would be tragic because him and the astronaut had just, they'd just opened up to each other. Things seemed to have just gotten better because the antidote worked. He was back. And although I thought him jumping on the ship to pilot it was a little bit out the blue, I think for him to have sacrificed himself to save the Earth would have been quite heroic and quite a dramatic ending. But then bringing him back at the end was it was all right. But again, it's the whole thing of this episode. I think they just could have done things
a lot better,
in a better way at times.
Mm-hmm.
Did you agree with the ending?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm just glad the ending message wasn't very
forced down.
We are throwing plastic in the ocean.
Yeah,
Stop and think. I'm glad it didn't go down that route. But anything else to mention in regards to this episode?
So I just think this episode would have been better placed in another series. Maybe.
I'm not too sure. I mean, I think
so. Except from having two episodes in a series that about strong messages to the viewer, kind of thing.
Maybe. I mean, I kind of liked it in a way that we took a step back from the story arc a bit. I mean, I wasn't bothered about it not getting a mention. I think, just to take a step back a bit was a good idea. I think it was all right. I think, I guess I wasn't too bothered about the message because it's a correct message. There was nothing wrong with it. It wasn't in your face like 55. I just think I'd have preferred them to have went down a more sci-fi Doctor Who route, gave us a villain, a proper villain, and a bit more of
I am missing.
A bit more of a dramatic ending rather than it being about Earth and how we live.
Yeah.
Again.
Something I am missing. So some good villains again.
Well, next week it looks like we'll be getting just that.
Lovely.
So how will we conclude this episode then in a rating?
I have a funny feeling that people are going to think it's harsh, but this rating, so has just been in my head the entire time. So I'm going to rate it a 6.
That's not too bad. I was going to give it a 6.5. I was thinking 7, but I think I'm going to drop it to a 6.5.
So I was thinking a 7, like on Nikola Tesla's episode, but was that episode... So So I actually enjoyed it a bit better, I think.
They're very close, I think.
So if I was thinking a 6 because of sort of the whole message again.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a 6.
It's a hard one this episode because this episode started off so strong.
It did.
But then all of a sudden, so it tailed right back down for me. So I was thinking, oh, do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it tailed off completely, as in like it lost all momentum and sort of stalled like Orphan 55 did, but it just the point is it just didn't go in the direction I thought it was going to go in.
Yeah.
And not the direction I would have preferred it to go in.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it could have got a bit more dramatic, a little bit, could have been more at stake. It could have felt a little up the ante a bit more with an actual villain. But, you know, it went in that direction. It was done okay. And it sort of just left me thinking, yeah, that was all right. But the point is, the first half was fantastic. And
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's let me down is I think that the first half of this episode, the way that things were laid out and the way things were sort of building up, this episode had the potential to be much better.
It did have the potential to be much
than
better.
what it was.
Yeah.
But it was still okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give it a 6.5.
I'm a 6.
There we go then. So that's our review of Praxeus, the infection. Yeah, as always, leave us a comment in the section below what your thoughts, reviews and ratings out of 10 are. Do subscribe to this channel for much more Series 12 reviews and cool theory videos, which we should hopefully have coming every single week. Hit the like if you've enjoyed this video, and of course you can follow us across all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even Patreon. But other than that, that's our review of Praxeus. So, as always, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys next time.